Joined now by Rob Lazare in his 17th season as equipment manager for Texas Longhorn basketball, and I get a lot of emails and questions from people always ask me about my description of the uniforms, and my universal response is, it's a very colorful uniform. Therefore, it takes some description. Of late, that's really the case with some of the uniforms.
Yeah, in the past, Nike's done most of our spearheading with changing the uniform colors and stuff like that, and we've come to want to have a third or an alternative uniform. And this year we've come up with a little idea of an anthracite. Nothing that hadn't been done in the past, so we decided to really go with anthracite.
Now, for those of you listening that aren't getting a chance to see this on Longhorn Network, the anthracite, and you say, isn't that a type of coal? And it is, and it's kind of that coal. It's not a solid black. It's kind of, I almost describe it as an off black, if you will. It's a dark uniform, and it's got the orange, burnt orange, block print capital lettering, says Texas across the front with a white numeral beneath it, outlined in burnt orange. And then on the back of the uniform is a large white numeral outlined in burnt orange. And this anthracite, very, very dark gray, almost black, but not coal black, not pitch black.
It hadn't been done in the past, and it was something we kind of circled the wagons and thought about and wanted to do something different and make it pop, and that's what we came up with.
And it keeps, by the way, I should point out, the traditional burnt orange and white colors in there. It's not something that's so completely off the chart that you don't even see the actual colors of the school in there.
We are orange and white, period. And we want to highlight that. So one way to do that is bring in a third color, which we don't have. So we came up with the anthracite to help out with that.
And I take it the players like it.
Oh, they love it. They love it.
Yeah.
And we're going to put it into a routine. We wanted to make it as like a third uniform,
So this would be not just a once or twice per season. We could see this on occasion.
On occasion, on a routine, on a basis.
Now let me ask you about the shoes you brought here, because this, and again, for folks who are listening on the radio, there's a gray shoe or silver and gray kind of combo with burnt orange white, and then there's an orange shoe there with gray and silver accents on it.
These are actually the KD 7s.
KD for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Kevin Durant. It is his seventh shoe in Nike series, and actually these were specially made for us. There's actually 60 pair of these gray ones, and there's 58 pair of these orange ones, and they're either on our guys' feet or in my storeroom.
And otherwise, they're not. They're nowhere are those available.
No,
not right now, anyway.
Well, they probably won't be. They'll do different color schemes as Nike for retail, but those are Texas specific for us.
We've talked about this before about the individuality of feet. Because guys have different arches, different width, different lengths. How challenging is it for, say, not only for Nike, but just for the guys to find the shoe that works for them as well as looks good?
Well, it's a double-edged sword in a lot of different ways. Every guy's foot is different, and then there's probably 6 or 7 different pairs of shoes that we can get the guys into. So a lot of people, I get calls and saying, "Hey, why aren't we in the same shoe?" Well, that shoe's only built for one type of foot. We've got 16 guys on it. Each shoe, fits the guy differently. So
it's not just if somebody's watching the thing, well, that guy must not like that shoe, so he's wearing a different shirt.
No, it's all about performance and me working with the athlete and working with Nike, trying to find the best shoe for them to perform. And,
I remember asking you in past years about who goes through shoes quicker, and there were guys up on the list that could, but what we had a situation was the last year before where a shoe just exploded.
Oh, yeah. So the orthotic came out the side of
Yeah. So even in a high-tech sneaker, that stuff still happens because of the torque and the wear and tear that an athlete puts on a shoe?
The force, the pressures, the everything, proprioceptive response coming from the floor. Kendall's actually been one of the hardest ones this year on the shoes. Not only on the outside, but also on the inside, the way he tears it up and stuff like that. And then, we got a guy like JB who I guess didn't really have a guy like me coming up through high school. And then I went to him one day and says, "Hey, you need to get out those shoes. They're done. They're cooked. Stuff like that.
That would be Jordan Barnett. Of course.
Sorry, Jordan Barnett. Yeah, and I had put him in a new pair of shoes, and he comes up and he goes, "Wow, didn't know what I was missing." So he, you know, I guess he've always played in a long pair of shoes for a long time, and all of a sudden, hey, you know, you have the opportunity to actually have a pair of shoes at work. So.
Rob Lazare is our special guest. Coach Barnes will rejoin us, and the three of us will talk a little bit about not only the uniforms for the guys and the shoes for the guys, some of what the others are wearing that are connected with Texas basketball when we continue with Longhorn Weekly, continuing in a moment. There is a preconceived notion that coaches really don't like adjustments and things with uniforms. They don't like alternate colors and this and that. They want their guys in the traditional bam bam, and they don't like all this other kind of stuff. What's your philosophy on all of that?
Well, I think Rob would tell you I'm probably more of a traditional guy in terms of the orange, you know, the burnt orange and white and everything's being uniform. But I do know that we're in a different time right now where the marketing is very important. The apparel is you know, it's a very valuable, you know, asset to the University of Texas, and Nike. If we left it totally up to Nike, I think they would create some unbelievable things here. But you know, there's a line that, you know, we're going to not ever cross. But Rob is great. You know, and Nike really uses us somewhat as a test school in terms of what they come in, and Rob can talk about that. But I think what's really interesting, you know, Rob, we've been together for a long time, and the very first workout I did on the floor with Miles Turner, I'm looking at his shoe. And it looks like that toe box up there is almost like it had a quilt over it. I mean, he had the strings pulled so tight, and it was just didn't look right. And I asked him, I said, take that shoe off and take out your inner sole. And when he took the inner sole out and put it on the floor and stepped on it, literally, what was it, Rob? 3/4 of an inch. And I'm like, hey, you know, there's no way you can push off your toe, the balls of your feet if your shoes are like that. And so I asked Rob, I said, hey, figure this out. There's something not right here. And you can tell them the story because it was really, when I saw that, I was shocked. I'll be honest, I was totally shocked by it. I mean, it looked more than 3/4 of an inch to me, but it's a really interesting story.
So a lot of people, when you go buy your shoes, you basically put it in a branded device, in a little silver thing, and
sure,
measure the length and pull it off the shelf and go. But truly, to get a true foot measurement, you need to do 4 measurements, and the 2 most important is heel to toe, which is overall length, and heel to arch. And Miles has a heel to arch length, which is almost a 21. So it's ridiculously long. So he was real comfortable in a size 21 because of the way the arch felt when he put it in. His actual length is almost a 19. So you normally fit to the longest one for the more comfortable, but he wasn't getting enough response off the floor because of the extra length. So did the 2 out of 3 other measurements, worked with Nike, and basically came up with just a modified size 19. So this is the 21, which he was wearing, and that's what he is wearing.
Wow. And for folks who can't tell the 21, you see there's a difference. There's a definite difference in the length on the size of those two.
Yeah. So
well, I'm going to tell you this, Craig. When I put this shoe on, the one he had, my foot, the tip of my toe came right there.
To the top lace?
To the top lace. That's where it came. And but I think you guys have got it figured out now, don't you, Rob?
Yeah, he's actually, you know, and it was crazy. Once he got into those, the first couple of days, Todd came back and says, hey, he's actually moving better. And then Rick came back a couple of days and says, hey, he's looking better on the floor. So.
Wow. Now, you're also outfitting the MCs for the games, Franchise and Zealy and DJ Mel, and that's all part of that whole game day atmosphere that's changed this year.
So I guess it was a few days before, or a couple of weeks early before the first game, and Terry Pierce called me and says, hey, Rob, we're in trouble. We need some help. We got this new hoop squad. We got DJs, the band, the MCs. He says,
the Palms, yeah.
Palm. He says, we need something. So, called Nike. I had a few things in the back of the stock room and stuff like that, but had it, made up and put it on him for game day.
You know, Craig, while we're talking about what he's doing with game day, but really, we all have to give a lot of credit to our new administration in terms of how they've changed our environment at the arena. And I tell our guys, I'm disappointed that we've had a couple chances to really keep building on it and we haven't come through. But you think about the atmosphere, the energy in the building, and then you even think about our national anthem has been different every game. It's been incredible, and what I love about it is, I mean, it's just exciting. I can just feel the excitement that's in the building. I just want us now, as our basketball team, to do our part to keep building it, and because everything that's happened this year has been just something that we've talked about for years.
Well, Rob, another thing, and I know Rick likes this as well as the upgrades that have happened inside the Cooley Pavilion with the those jerseys and those players who've done great things for Longhorn basketball, and the photos and everything for those who being honored for what they've contributed.
Yeah, last year I sort of made a conscious effort to try to clean up, the hallways, stuff like that, and we did the past teams from the beginning. This year we kind of focused on the NBA guys, and they're an important thread to the fabric, which is Texas basketball, and to go back and honor them, which is the highest level that you can get in basketball. And I had to do some research. We had some guys that played in some defunct teams in the NBA, and calling on the NBA, but we've got a nice little board that shows every guy that's currently in the NBA and every guy that's played in the NBA in one way, shape, or fashion that's put on the orange and white. So,
and Rob, Rob does a great job with that. And you think about it, when we first put that board up, and obviously you're doing a lot of this to present yourself to recruits and to tell the story of the program. But in the NBA, we had guys that would play on 4 or 5 different teams, and you had to figure out how.
Who would have known the Tri-Cities Blackhawks would be involved in it?
But
then the one thing that we wanted to do, we wanted every player that's ever worn that uniform's name in that building somewhere, and we came up with and it was, and actually we got it while we were at West Virginia. I mean, West Virginia built a new facility, and we saw where they had honored every team, and so we came back, and we have a long enough hallway to do that, and where every player that's ever played at Texas, his team is up there. And we're in a position right now where we know that we need to continue to upgrade our facility, but with the new med school, we're kind of on hold, and we've had, as our players, and believe it or not, our players have gotten bigger over the years, and the film room is a difficult film room now because of the size of the chairs. But the one thing I would tell you that I do hope that we can get done is if we can get 100% participation from all of our former players, families, that we can one day really say that we've endowed our basketball scholarships. That's the one thing that I think would be a great statement, that if we could get all people that's ever been involved in the program.
Especially in this day and age of full cost of attendance.
It really is, and you think about it, there's not a better legacy that any of us could leave, to say that this basketball program, the University of Texas, has been great to us, and now how can we leave it better than we found it? And by simply assuring that in the future years that every scholarship is endowed, and it's I just think that'd be a great legacy for our program to have, and that's something that we really hope to really get going. And the university, as you know, the athletic department's in a major fundraising position right now because of the new arena that's going to have to be built. We're going to probably have to build a new practice facility, and again, because the med school is going to be great for everybody. It's going to be great for Austin. It's going to be great for a university. So we're going to need help, and we're going to need other people to help us with it.
All right. Hey, Rob, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate
No
it.
worries.
All right. We'll continue with Rick as Longhorn Weekly with head coach Rick Barnes continues right here on the Longhorn Network and the Longhorn IMG Radio Network.